ideas. Write down what's working particularly well in your chapter. An idea, an activity, a program, and then just, if you don't know, well, how can I describe it? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. We've all seen that before. And then we're going to submit them in a simple form. We're not talking about big analysis. Find some natural categories that they fall into. There they are: fundraising, membership drives, community activities. You can read the rest of them there. And then this list is maintained by someone, a volunteer. I've been volunteering since my kids were little. 20 years in Boy Scouting, things at church, all kinds of things. Volunteers do things for free. And I'll take anything away. You got to make a living, Betsy. But I think we got to take a little ownership, or we're going to have to pay for everything. Okay? Someone just get that list together and present it to the website board, whoever the board is that decides the website committee is going to be, and decide what goes up there. Put all those ideas available on the website for people to access. And then chapters that want to know more about it, that will come up and they'll say, okay, who do I contact with that? And you get the source contact. And here's an example. I just grabbed one of the things that we do particularly well. Category of programs to take to the public. Speakers Bureau, we've got a variety of people and a variety of programs that we take out because we found we can reach more people by going to them than having them come to us. We go on their schedule and we've reached hundreds of people in the last 3 years with these programs. And they cover a whole variety of interests: birds, habitat conservation. Most of them are an hour or less, and they can be modified. I've had some discussions here with people. I've had to take my 1 hour talks and get them into 20 minutes for Rotary clubs. But at least I made an impression on a group of Rotarians, okay? And then we don't charge anything for them. They usually ask us how much. We say they're free, but we're more than willing, if you have a speaker's budget, to take a donation to the Audubon Society of Greater Cleveland. And when they do have that available to them, we generally get $50 to $100. And then at the bottom of this, if you want more information, contact Jane Doe at Audubon Society of Greater Cleveland and a phone number. So you would put the person who would field those questions if they came from Dayton. Is it John? Dave. From Dave. If you would call and say, okay, that's great, can you tell me more? We don't go into excruciating detail on the website. It's not appropriate, it's not necessary. We're out there putting enough flesh on the bones to be able to throw those ideas out. This is what we do in our Speakers Bureau. You pull a PDF off the website when you go down. There's an example. There's a few programs. We have 3 pages of programs. And they're done by a variety of people. Okay? And that's kind of what it looks like. And that's as simple as it should appear on the website. And that's what do Reservoir at Sunset. So, #1 hotspot. I am an eBird zealot. Okay? So, the best place to go in Geauga County. And as long as I've got the floor, whoever wants to go birding after this or tomorrow morning, see me. I've got a map to what to do. There is waterfowl. There's some open water. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a question. Can you back up to your first slide so I can take an electronic picture of it?
Is that going to have this on?
No, okay, the
No.
second one. Oh, well.
Yeah, there. And but is there one more, or was it? Is there like another bullet point? Is that?
And then Alan, you,
No, okay,
you
back.
can text it out.
Are you able to just share that on like Google Slides?
Right, that's what I was wondering.
Wash your mouth out with soap.
Microsoft.
We really are showing the difference in ages and who's the digital immigrants and the digital pilgrims, okay?
Yes, we can.
Even on the website would be nice for this, some of this information.
Many places.
Right.
So my challenge to all of you is, if you decide, and this is for the board to decide if they would like to put this out, let's put together 1. If you do 2, let's see, 2 times 11, that would be 22 ideas. Okay? And if you don't have anything, that's fine too. If you're struggling like Dave's group is, I totally get it. Okay? Anything else for the good of the order? Thank you for your time.
Jill, can I ask you to just, it's not quite tall enough, but if you can just.
So next is fundraising. Western Cuyahoga, do you have anything to put in here, or are you just going to...
We're just going to talk.
Okay. Okay.
So the topic that I'm going to be going over very briefly is an idea that sort of piggybacks on what Matt was talking about from an education standpoint, but it focuses on education for our members, both our chapters, our affiliates, and their membership. And one of our test cases is a course that we're developing for Western Congo Audubon, which we think might be of use for a broader audience, including the thousands of members that are potentially represented here. And we're developing a course called Technology for Birders, an Introduction. So many of us who are not eBird zealots yet have the potential for using a lot of the tools that technology, particularly mobile technology, gives us today for birders and for other naturalists. And maybe Betsy, you can talk a little bit about how the idea originated, and then I can talk a little bit more about what this course will be and how we're going to roll it out.
Sure, real quick. So what I love about this and how it originated and proving the power of conversations and collaborations. This originally started when we were looking for interviews and recorded conversations for last November speaker program at WCAS that highlighted a historical retrospect of the chapter. And so it was Tom Romito and Marianne Romito who interviewed Terry Robeson, Chief of the Natural Resources for Cleveland Metro Parks. And we were very lucky to get the time with him. Anyway, in the conversation, the interview that Tom interviewed Terry about, primarily about how he thought that from a parks perspective, what was the value that Audubon members could bring and continue to bring to the parks, and how could they play a role in future conservation projects. And so out of this conversation came all kinds of ideas and wisdom, but Terry, two top of mind things, Terry said, please improve the skilled capacities of the members to use mobile technology. And then ultimately, when we teamed up with the project manager, Tim Pryor, who helped to is evolving the curriculum, Tim saw the wonderful opportunity to engage the Audubon members known for boots on the ground. And he will manage and deploy people who take the training and who are interested in the idea to help forward Cleveland Metro Park projects. So that's just, this stuff is not a light switch, it's not black and white. You can see how it unfolds through one possibility to the next possibility, and it's always up to whoever is there engaged to think of what are the creative opportunities, what could we build with this? And so out of that came this emerging curriculum.
So when we met with Tim Krynak at the Metro Parks to talk about this, we saw this opportunity to partner with them, and we'll be making our first presentation April 9th at the Rocky River Nature Center, supported both by the Metro Parks and WCAS. We'll be reaching out to members of both organizations to have folks come and join us, to hear us talk about technology for birders, and the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about are leading to both improving the ability for birders to enjoy and benefit from their experiences and do the kinds of things that they like to do better and more easily identify birds, understand where birds are, where can I go to find and see birds, and how can I document that? And we know that a lot of birders love all those things, so we think we can extend that. From Tim Krynak's perspective in the Metro Parks, they see opportunities that this all leads to a better ability to provide conservation efforts. And so the first step is the course that I've been asked to kind of start developing with Tim, and that is around just what are the technologies. Introduce this subject, particularly for those folks who don't understand but would like to know about people using eBird. What is eBird, and you know, how can I use that both to document what I'm seeing, but also to understand maybe from an educational perspective what birds are likely where I am right now, and where are birds that I want to see being seen locally or somewhere else, or if I'm going to travel, where might I see birds? So eBird has so much information, and there are a lot of folks who still are not familiar with it. We think we can provide a little bit of insight into that. But more broadly, we want to talk about so many of the tools that are available out there. There are so many online field guides, for example. There are now tools that help us understand what we're seeing in the field, maybe through question and answer, maybe by taking a photograph of a bird and submitting that bird into a program like Merlin and having that come back and suggest what we're likely seeing. There are tools now to record sounds and have the software give us suggestions on what we might be hearing. So the software and the technology, the tools that we'll be talking about will all be included. It'll be an introductory level, and then we hope to dive deeper into those things at a later date.
And
For the public, thank you.
April 9th, 7 to 9.
7 to 9, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then, let's see, where's my computer?
There you go. Good. Just open it up.
All right. Okay, thank you. And now Lisa Del Rio will talk about the WCAS bird-friendly coffee shop model.
Do you need anything up there, or do you want to just close the window on the projector? So we're not glaring at you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, mine, your seat.
So I recently began as the bird-friendly coffee coordinator for the Western Cuyahoga chapter. And what it involves is, well, first of all, what you'll be most interested in knowing is that it generates revenue. So your coffee sales that you sell through your chapter, if you choose to do this, 5% goes back to you to invest in conservation projects. And it's easy. The way it's done is Betsy has set up a store on the website, and people can just click there, order by credit card or PayPal, and delivery turnaround time is quick, and then we arrange delivery. So we have a network. Someone delivers for us, you know, on different parts of town. It depends on how dispersed your customers are. Or I was speaking with someone else today who was just interested in having us do it, which I would be willing to do if you don't want to set up a store and all that. You know, we'll provide the coffee as well, so that's an option. But it is, it is Smithsonian certified, which means it has to meet strict growing criteria. The coffee's grown in 12 countries around the world. And it protects the habitat. What is it? 60% of coffee grown around the world is sun coffee, which means they have wiped out the habitat and deforested it. So this is a way to preserve that for the birds. It's better for the farmers. It's better for the communities because they don't have fertilizers and pesticides going downstream. So there's a lot of wins. The other thing, well, you're drinking it today. If you'd like to check out our coffee board, I have pictures of the many, many migratory birds that come to Ohio that are also found on coffee farms. So there's definitely a local connection. Thank you to Tom for providing the pictures. And the other great part about it is it's really delicious coffee. It's some of the best I've ever had, and so it's for fundraising, but you know sometimes they'll have you, like schools, they'll have you sell something cheap and people are. But we have fans and repeat customers because they just really like the coffee, and the price is comparable to Starbucks.
Do you have whole bean and ground?
A what?
Do you have it in whole bean and ground?
Thank you. Whole bean, ground, different blends, including decaf. So So if you need it for your French press or, you know, your regular coffee maker, it's got that covered. There are 5 different blends, and so it's, yeah, we know it's not one size fits all, and it's good for, you know, there's a lot of people out here who really like and appreciate their coffee, so this is
Will
good.
you still? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick about buying fair trade coffee. I don't know, a lot of the standard regular coffee is kind of slave labor or child labor. Those kids are pretty much locked onto the coffee plantations, and a lot of children are out picking the beans. So fair trade coffee is, in my opinion, I buy fair trade, is something to consider no matter what you're buying, as long as it's fair trade.
Yeah. And
High
this is-
pesticides, as little kids are exposed to
Yeah.
tons of pesticides, you know.
And this is a step above
Fair trade, yeah.
because
There's some good fair trade.
Huh?
There's some good fair trade.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm not discounting that at all. I'm just saying this is and another feature is that it's with the certification, it's 100% pure Smithsonian certified coffee. I learned that some places will sell, and I don't know if it applies to fair trade, but they'll brand it a certain way, but maybe only 30% is, you know, meets the criteria. So it's just a really high quality product as well. So
Will you still, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Will you still go to surrounding counties to deliver it? The previous person did, I was wondering. if
yeah.
you
Oh
still-
sure. Yeah.
All right.
What about for UPS or something like that?
It's available. You just pay shipping.
Okay.
So.
Maybe they'd be interested in knowing what flavor we're enjoying today.
Oh, yes. I believe this is Baltimore Oreo. Yeah, each blend has a version. We've got Woods Thrush, Red Star, Scarlet Tanager. That's a popular one.
The original native coffee tree, is that an understory tree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm glad you asked that because the Sun Coffee that, you know, the mass market Big Ag is growing, that's where they have to, it needs to be deforested in order for that coffee to grow. And the difference between the number of birds or percentage of birds.
And to make money, they need little kids that they force to stay on those coffee.
Yeah, that I didn't,
Are you
yeah, that I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, last question.
Your coffee is owned by region?
okay going up?
From
It's
where it
okay.
comes from?
No, it's supplied by a lot of Central American countries, Mexico, they've got some in India now, and Thailand.
Northern South.
The shepherd's hook comes out. And
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Catherine Timko from Lake Erie Nature and Science Center.
And I'm Taryn Leach, also from the Green Transplant Center.
And no, we're not talking about fundraising. I'm not sure how that happened, so sorry to disappoint you on that. We mostly wanted to make sure that you are aware of our education and wildlife services. So I'll just give a brief introduction. For those of you that don't know Lake Erie Nature and Science Center, we have the pleasure of being a host site for Western Cuyahoga Audubon Society as they do their walks. A few times a year, they'll start them from our nature center located in Bay Village. We are a nonprofit. We're independent of any other organization, and so we are privately funded. Maybe that's where the fundraising came in. And we're primarily serving children, families, students of all ages with educational services. So we have both a nature center with natural resource exhibits, and that includes over 100 live animal exhibits, and those animals are part of our collection, which Taryn will talk a little bit about. We have a nature-based preschool, a planetarium, which is one of only 2 public access planetariums in the Cleveland area, and a whole array of programming. I brought along one of our program guides. This is for spring, and it gives you a sense of the types of programming that we offer for children and families, all very focused on all of our very special resources of the center, which are our wildlife, our planetarium, and our proximity to Lake Erie. So even some of the preschoolers that are coming into our preschool program get a chance to walk to Lake Erie, get to see the landscape between our nature center and all of the different landscapes that are part of it, meadows, streams, the pond, all the way to the lake. And it really is having an impact at a very, very young age. So we're very excited about that. I also brought along our newsletter. This gives you a sense of our community impact. We're reaching over 165,000 people each year. So I'll turn it over to Taryn. She's in charge of a lot of really important programs at the Center of Guardian Wildlife.
Sure. So we do a lot of work with education, and one place that people understand that we do education is through a wildlife rehabilitation program. We are the only one of its kind in Cuyahoga County that does what it does. And we actually get a lot of other places that will bring us their sick, injured, and orphaned animals. We take in over 1,700 animals annually, and that number continues to increase. And that doesn't even include the lights out birds that we help to care for through what is a very important initiative that's going on right now in Cleveland. So with the wildlife rehabilitation, we have the opportunity to reach out and connect with a lot of people. I've been hearing a lot of talk about how there's been some high-level ways of how we can make changes, but just as we were talking about the spring peepers, one peep makes a difference, but when you start hearing the chorus, we get in over 1,700 individuals that don't know a lot about what's going on around in the world around them. And when they bring in that animal and it's sick and it's injured or there's something wrong with it, the bird got blown out of the nest, we have that opportunity to educate them about what is happening. And they go away with that knowledge, and that knowledge continues to grow because they're able to share that. Because we find that as we care about things in the world, we want to protect those things. And if they don't know about those things, they don't know how to care about them. So we have that opportunity to just build it one person at a time and reach communities and people that aren't necessarily going to get that education. We get birds that come in from downtown Cleveland, from inner city people, that will come in on a bus to bring in this animal to us, and they have no idea what it is, and just from there we're able to reach out to them. The other thing that we do, besides the wildlife rehab, is that we have internship programs. We're able to work with both colleges that are here in Cleveland, also Summit County. We work through all of Ohio. We get interns that have come from Ohio State University, from Miami University, OU, and it allows us to educate them. They're either vet techs or they want to be veterinarians because they come in to work with the rehab for the internship. Some of them want to be future zookeepers. Some of them want to become educators, and we have education internships that they're able to work with our educators as well. So it allows us to reach out to a lot of people on a daily basis, and I love what we do. So.
And we also, in addition to taking in ill or injured animals, our wildlife staff, Taryn, is one of 4 people that are really responding to the public. They're responding to over 4,000 phone calls and email inquiries from the public as well about injured or ill wildlife. So one thing we're just asking you to do today is to keep us in mind. If you know of people who find injured wildlife, please direct them to us. Our wildlife rehab program is operated with over, I think, 7 different kinds of federal, state, and local permits. And we're only able to do this because of those permits. We cannot charge for our rehabilitation services. These are all free. And what a wonderful way to educate people and to engender this curiosity about wildlife and our natural inclination to want to care for it and hopefully forward that.
And with summer coming up, obviously we have baby season, so we'll be fielding a lot of phone calls. It usually ends up being around 1 call every 6 minutes. And that's while we're caring for the hundreds of animals that are in our rehab hospital and the animals that are in our permanent collection. And it's everything from, please put the baby bunny back into the nest, it's okay, or yes, you can find the nest and put the bird back up, the mom will come back despite you touching it. And so we have to do a lot of education, but it's 1 phone call every 6 minutes in the middle of everything else that we're trying to do. So as you can tell, we are really reaching out to a vast number of people.
Questions? I just want to mention what a godsend it is to a local chapter president, because I keep getting calls that I had no way of knowing how to answer, and I say call call Lake Erie and speak to Tim Jasinski or one of his staff members, and they will bail you out.
And we
He's
appreciate
bailed
that.
me out personally
Yes.
too.
Yes.
We have 4 wildlife staff members,
Yeah.
so really just about anybody
Yeah,
can
right.
direct call.
Right. But yeah, we appreciate that because right now, I mean, we talk about technology and how you guys don't like it, but there's a lot of people that look up, how do I care for a baby bird? And we get somebody that has been feeding a house finch worms. So, not very helpful, so.
How big is your market area? How far would you go to rescue or?
We don't rescue, we don't have enough resources to go out and rescue.
Last
We
question.
do ask the public to bring
Right.
those animals to
Yes,
us.
Thank
they
you.
have to bring
Thank
them to us.
Thank you.
Can you do that?
I'm gonna start counting. We have a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. No, but I'm seeing on the website it's
Go, COAC.
Yeah, the list that has that. Right.
Plastics and chemical pollution? Yeah, plastics and chemical. It's up there. Okay. Do you have something you need to? Okay.
Okay. Hello, my name's Jill Bartolotta. I'm with Ohio Sea Grant. Has anyone heard of Ohio Sea Grant before? Good. I usually know what we're doing. But I'm just going to give an update on our program so you know what we're doing in Ohio.
Downward barrel.
Okay, thank you. What we're doing in Ohio and what resources we offer and how we might be able to help Audubon out. So, Ohio Sea Grant is one of 33 programs across the country. Our federal funding for every program is NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They do weather, hurricane reports, fisheries research, a whole bunch of stuff, but we're their education and outreach arm. And then we all have a state partner for us in Ohio, that's Ohio State University. And we focus, like I said, on outreach, education, and research related to Lake Erie and the Lake Erie watershed, but we will work statewide. And Stone Laboratory, that's our research facility. I have this little brochure here will tell you all about the programs we offer. We offer college credits for high school and college students. We offer non-credit workshops. We also have a visitor center up there that's open to the public and free of charge, and we do tours of our island throughout the summer. So our 4 focus areas are going to be healthy coastal ecosystems, fisheries and aquaculture, resilient communities and economies, and then literacy and workforce development. And just to give you a better idea of extension, so that's what I do, we are bringing what's happening on the campus research-wise and curriculum development-wise out into the communities. So every county, no matter which county you're from, you have an extension office that does 4-H, agriculture, master gardeners, healthy food systems, and then if you're in a coastal community, you're probably going to have a Sea Grant program. And so Ohio Sea Grant Extension, we started in 1978. We merged with OSU in the 1980s, and there are now 7 extension educators throughout the coastal region of Ohio. And what we do is we'll do our own research. We will go and give talks to a variety of groups. We do citizen science, and we take what's happening, like I said, research-wise, and bring that into the community. So we're kind of this link between all these different sectors and just help each other figure out what's going on, who they need to talk to, and we bring science into the decision-making process. So this is all of us. So we'll start with me, I guess. I'm based in Lake and Ashtabula counties, but I go all over the place. Some of my work focuses on paddling safety, so I teach people how to be safe boating stewards as well as clean boating stewards, so cleaning up after themselves when they're out in the water.
Most of my work focuses on marine debris. Marine debris is our trash that's in the water. So my work is focusing on how I get people like you to use less plastic, so less plastic gets in the natural environment. That was a fast 6 minutes. Oh, okay.
Three more, sorry.
Oh, 3 more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to watch the clock.
Scott, he works in Cuyahoga County. He does a lot of coastal storms work and how we can reduce flooding impacts on Cleveland, and then how we can help some of the communities that are most at risk for these storms rebuild after a storm. Sarah Orlando, she's in Lorain County, but she goes statewide. She's the manager of our Clean Marina program. So I don't know if any of you are also boaters, but she does a lot of work on how you can limit your impact on the environment boating, or if you are a boater, go to one of our clean marinas because they're taking steps to be more environmentally aware. Kristen Stanford, she's our director of our education. She's out at Stone Laboratory. Most of her work that she does, besides managing the lab, is she does all of the Lake Erie water snake research. So if you're interested in snakes, she's the person you'd want to reach out to. Kevin Hart, he's our Stone Lab manager. He just oversees the day-to-day operations as well as all of our seasonal staff. So we hire part-time people to help out at the lab during the summer. And then Tori, he is our fisheries person. So if you have any fish questions or fish needs or wetland restoration projects, he'd be the best person for you to talk to. And then lastly, Joe, he's out in the Toledo area. He's going to be our economic development and workforce development person, so making sure that small local businesses stay in business and they continue to grow. So these are the people to talk to, and if you have any questions. Yep.
Where is Stone Lab?
Stone Lab's on South Bass Island, and so Put-in Bay, but we also own Gibraltar Island, which is an 8-acre island that you can see from downtown Put-in Bay. Yeah, great birding.
And you can meet your wife there too.
What'd you say?
You can meet your wife there too.
You can meet a lot of people at Put-in Bay. But hopefully you like them.
Thank you.
Can you forward your website and all the contact information to the COAC?
Yeah, my presentation can be available, whoever wants it.
We can pick stuff up right there.
But this is if you want our website information.
Hello, and thank you for the invitation to speak to you this afternoon. My name's Kathy Lynn. I'm the Sustainable Cleveland Manager for the City of Cleveland Office of Sustainability. And before I get started on my topic for today, I just have to put a plug in. Sustainable Cleveland is reaching its culmination year this year with Sustainable Cleveland 2019. We've selected 2019 because we're celebrating 50 years of progress since the last burning of the Cuyahoga River. And I want to encourage you all to pick up a postcard that'll take you to our website, cuyahoga50.org. There are a lot of parties going on this year, especially on June 22nd, all along the river, which is the anniversary of the last burning of the river. And with that, I'll get to what I'm supposed to be talking about. What I wanted to introduce you to this afternoon was the Sustainable Cleveland Plastic Reduction Working Group. And Jill is also a member of this group, so she can also answer questions about it. So our main mission is to educate residents about plastic pollution and to provide action specifically for single-use disposable plastics. And you can see we have a lot of organizational representatives on our working group, as I mentioned, like Jill and Sarah Orlando, who's also with Ohio Sea Grant. But we also have a lot of residents that are included in this working group. One of the programs we're working on right now is Skip the Straw. You can learn more about the initiative, about why it's important to skip the straw. You can also see the video that led to this worldwide campaign, which is the sea turtle with the straw being pulled out of its nose, which kind of got us all fired up about this. But the blog is at sustainablecleveland.org/skipthestraw, and I have information at the display board. We partnered with Ocean Conservancy with our logo. You can see it says Ocean Conservancy, but also Protect Our Great Lakes to bring it home. And we're not asking restaurants to ban, well, we want them to ban plastic straws, but provide straws only upon request. So many restaurants are switching to paper straws. We're also working with a local artist. She came up with this comic that we're going to promote to restaurants as a placemat to help get the word out. We're also partnering with Surfrider Foundation. They recently formed a Northern Ohio Surfrider chapter. Most of their members are very active in water sports, paddleboarding, kayaking, and their coastal chapters have an ocean-friendly restaurant campaign. We've asked them to create a lake-friendly restaurant campaign. Actually, Jill was instrumental in that last year, about this time, we were at the International Marine Debris Conference, and they talked about their ocean-friendly restaurant program. Jill asked them, let's have a lake-friendly program. That is being launched this month.
Cool.
Also, our group is hosting a conversation for Common Ground. This is a conversation across 5 different counties hosted by Cleveland Foundation. Each conversation brings community together to talk around a meal over a topic. Last year, our topic was plastic surgery, cutting plastic out of your life. This year, we're going to also host a conversation. The theme for this year is the environment, what it was, is, and will be. Again, we'll be focusing on single-use disposable plastics and actions that everyone can take. And we're hosted by the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. We have our conversation at Nautica Pavilion, so we're right there on the water. And lastly, our office received a grant from the NOAA Marine Debris Program to create a social marketing campaign around single-use disposables like plastic grocery bags and plastic refillable bottles. With Jill and Scott's help, they did an online survey to identify why don't we bring our plastic grocery bags and our refillable bottles? We know we all have them. And what they found out, which wasn't real surprising, is we just forget. So that's what we built our campaign around. We partnered with John Segura at Segura's Marketplace in Cleveland Heights. He's been a great partner to help us get the word out to his customers and staff to bring reusable bags to the grocery store. And I'm happy to go into that more if you're interested. But with that, if you're interested in learning more or you'd like to join the working group, here's my information, and I have more at the display board. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it's good.
My name's Fran Mensch, and I'm here representing the Sierra Club. I'm a volunteer with the Sierra Club, not staff, the Northeast Ohio chapter, and I'm the water co-chair. I'm very happy to participate in anything that has to do with collaboration because it is my opinion that that is the problem. It is lack of citizens cooperating their efforts. I think that's why we find ourselves where we do today with the situation with plastic pollution. Clearly, there's a lot of good programs. We know what the problem is. There's a lot of interesting and alarming facts, but we need information to move forward. But really, we have to persuade our leaders to change the policy. We can do whatever we can individually. I respect that. You can get into an ideological battle. A lot of times you've already done this. You talk about people not using, don't use a straw. Give me a straw. And they'll say, oh, that's only 7%. That's such a small amount. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter if people quit using straw. Anybody get that? Okay. Yeah, such a small. Don't worry about it. But that's kind of where it's kind of an ideological argument. Supposedly it's 7% of the pollution. And I want to say to those people, if I got 1,000 people to give you 7 pennies, would you take it? It accumulates, right? Okay, so it is an ideological thing. That's why, as long as we're kept separate, we won't be able to change policy. And people will once something is implemented, people do get it. They agree with it. They abide by it. Let's say, and many times that leads to them accepting it. There's a lot of. So I would say we need to do something privately, right? We have to have something meaningful. I know I'm very frustrated, probably all of you are very frustrated when you've learned that, well, all this recycling you're doing is kind of baloney because there's no place to ship the plastic. China quit taking it. They used to take 40%. They quit taking it. So forget about this recycling. There's no place to send it. I find that very frustrating. It's frustrating. That's why the policy, the public, our elected officials have to implement some kind of policy that reduces this amount of pollution. There's all kinds of ideas out there. You probably heard them. Everything from adding the cost of recycling into the product itself, working with manufacturers, and this has all been done. All these models, the models are out there, but they've done it successfully. You probably know in the European Union, go back to cooperation, the idea of cooperation. The European Union has established that they are going to eliminate single-use plastic products. That's a bag, a straw, plastic silverware. They're eliminating it. The state of California and Hawaii has banned, I don't know if it's all single-use products, but I think certainly the bags. The city of Cincinnati is trying to put, I believe, a ban on bags. The city of Ashtabula banned straws. Probably somebody heard that. So we can do things to make a difference. On the Cuyahoga County level, those of you who live, if you don't live here, there's a group, a grassroots group that is now meeting in Berea High School. The next meeting is March the 14th at 7 o'clock. It's not ideological, not connected to any kind of political party, but it's an effort to pull citizens up together to get Cuyahoga County to do something. The basis of all that argument is that there's a connection between plastics, the economy, and health. I passed around these cards. If you would send that into Sierra Club, just as saying that you're supporting to do something about plastic pollution, you might want to add on there. Don't put me on your mailing list if you don't want that. I don't know that happens, but I would just want to mention that. And I do have some flyers too about the last plastic straw. You can put, if anybody wants any of these, you can put one of these little. If you're afraid to say anything to your restaurateur, to the manager, you can just put that on the table, and the wait staff will see it if you're not. But they are many times receptive. So I think, as I say, I welcome this collaboration. We're going to go through Betsy, communicate with all of you about what the things that Sierra Club is doing, and I would hope particularly things like letter writing campaigns we could cooperate with, because that's really, as I say, I see that as the obstacle. I've been an activist involved with 2 big projects. The first thing that people do when they're together is they fight with each other, and then the easiest thing for public officials to do is to get groups of people to fight with each other. And you see this with developers too. The easiest thing that you can do is to get people to fight with each other. Generally, there's fighting over ownership. Whose project is it? This is not Sierra Club's project. This is not Fran Manch's project. Whoever has a good idea, contact us. We'll try to support you. And then the last thing, this is completely an aside, and I'm employed by Cleveland State University, but this is not something that I'm doing on behalf of my employer. It's divorced from Cleveland State University. But they do have a sustainability director, and they built a brand new, beautiful Washkowitz Engineering School. Those of you who are familiar with Cleveland State, they have an engineering school. And so much glass, and where are we but exactly on the migration path. So any chapter, Sierra Club's going to do this, any chapter that wants to co-sign a letter to us, I believe I contacted certain individuals, and I do believe they'd be receptive to maybe and then probably this is going on, I just don't know, but to do something to change glass, right, so that birds don't slam into there. So maybe if any of you, again, we'll work through Betsy, if you want to co-sign or send your own letter to them, I think that they would be receptive. And I thank you very much.
I don't have to rationalize this time.
We're gonna see if the volume works.
Hello, my name's Bruce Smith. I'm a concerned citizen. Thank you for having me. My topic is water. One of two most important things that man needs to survive. I'm going to talk about the biggest untalked about problem we have, household chemicals. No one talks about it, and it causes more damage and more harm than anything else out there. Oh, there you go. Water, industry needs it, our home needs it, farms need it, all facets of life on the planet need it. Without clean fresh water, man is prone to diseases, poor sanitation, polluted waterways, land, poison plants and vegetables. There's 81,000 chemicals registered with the EPA in the last 30 years, and fewer than 20% have been tested for toxicity. You see all the facts there concerning the literature I passed around has a lot of it. The most important thing on here, we are conducting a vast toxicological experiment in our societies in which our children and our children's children are the experimental subject. The average home generates 20 pounds of hazardous waste each year. These are some of the things you have in your home. On the paper I passed out, I'll tell you more of what these are in your chemicals that you are bringing into your homes and what it does to the body. And if it's doing it to us, if we spill it in nature, it affects the flora and the fauna. Not a problem, sodium hydroxide in your common cleaners that you bring home. You don't even know that you're bringing these things home. Your hydrochloric acid, again, in your household products you bring them home. You don't know it's in there. No one tells you about it. No one brings this to your attention. Butyl solvent. All the harms it can do. Another product you bring it home, and you don't know what's in your product. What can you do? You can start looking things up online to see what is in your chemicals and what it's doing. Take action. Properly dispose of harmful products. Find safer choices. Can we make a difference today? Yes, we can. Without spending billions. Quick results. 2 simple steps. Education of the masses. This is where all you people come in, with all your different groups. You are an environmental group in one way or another. You have to start telling the people about these products because it affects everything in the world around us. Now we got to get our legislation in gear to try convincing them that we don't want these products. Get them off the shelf. Everything you know is wrong. We're told things, the spin doctors tell us things, they tell us things that they want us to know. You're all old enough to remember the commercial? Tums. take it, it's good for you. It has calcium in it. They're not lying to you. They're not telling you the whole truth. It has calcium in it. It won't do a thing for you because it's missing all the other chemicals in it that it needs to be absorbed into the body. Lysol's another one. Tell you it kills you 99% of all the germs out there. It's got elastic there. Turn over the bottle and look what it says. Depending on what kind of Lysol you buy, it might only be 4 pathogens that it's killing. Lysol only stays active for 1 day. There are companies out there that are making safe products. You as consumers, you have to do your homework, look and see what's available. Lobbyists of big companies spin the truth and make you believe you need them. They tell you, you need that white shirt. You need this, you need that. It's all a big spin. Big companies tell you need to spend billions to fix the problem. We don't need to spend billions. Each one of you people made one change in your habits, we can make a big difference. They know the answers and they're not telling you the truth. Believe me, these people know how to fix the problems. NASA knows what the problems are. Big business is involved, the lobbyists get involved. They don't want to fix it because it's going to kill their business. I can only speak to you about the information that I know to be true. Other companies would have to supply you with their facts and figures. By going with biodegradable products, we can eliminate 108 pounds of packaging and waste out of landfills, 248 pounds of greenhouse gases. That's per person by changing to one product. By no, that's not important down there. By having cleaner water, using biodegradable cleaner products, we're cleaning the water. Chemicals not getting into the soil. Chemicals not seeping into our water table. Accidental poisoning, using of non-toxic bug killers. Thank you.
Jackie, can you hold this for a minute? You may have to look at it.
Youth diversity and accessibility.
Thank you.
Accessibility.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Come on down, Liz.
Where's that Jim Jablonski?
Where is Jim Jablonski? James
Do you need anything, or do you want me to turn?
No, I
Can
don't
the,
need.
for the sake of time, could the two of you just come forward and talk
Come on.
informally about this topic? You have so much to offer.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you a short story.
Together, you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
I don't see very well, so I went to my ophthalmologist and said, these cataracts are interfering with my birding. Can you please help me? And he said, yeah, but wait till you talk to my scheduler. And so when I got to the part of the visit that I went to see the person who schedules the surgery, her computer was loaded with bird pictures in this never-ending carousel. And I realized I had found somebody very much like myself, and I was so excited. Have you ever been to the Audubon Society events? We'd love to have you. And she said to me, you know, I'd like to go on those field trips, but they're too strenuous, and my braces keep me from doing it. She had full braces from her feet up to her knees, and her most beloved birding partner passed away not too long ago, and the only way she gets out birding now is to go up to parking lots that are near woods or next to a pond or something, and she gets her birding done that way. I told her, boy, this is really insightful to me. I need to bring this back to my Audubon group, and I did.
And lo and behold, they were excited too because they had never thought of doing something like that. I'm hoping I'll hear from more of you that are interested in doing those things. With your chapters, we definitely want to try some with ours. She's going to come to our next Audubon meeting because we have elevator access to our meeting room, and she never knew that. We've now added that to our website as well. So I hope to tell you next time what we have finally established as a more accessible Audubon program that includes people who can't walk or see very well, like myself, and hopefully will make a difference for somebody in their life. Yes?
The Sandy Ridge Reservation has an extended golf cart, and they take people who can't walk through that magnificent facility of theirs.
Wow.
So does the whole Arboretum.
Yeah.
That's great to hear about that. We might want to check and see if there's other works in our area that do stuff like that.
Yeah, Black River Audubon advocated for that tram to go through Sandy Ridge. Years ago, it's been doing it for quite a few years. Well, I'm going to speak about diversity, and if your chapter's like mine, I've seen more youth and ethnic diversity at this meeting than I've seen since 2006 at our chapter meetings. Thank God we don't have a problem with gender diversity. I hate to think of the chapter that was totally old white men.
Go to a golf course.
But anyway, that's, an issue, I think, probably throughout Audubon. The National Audubon is very aware of it. What I'm going to talk about are some attempts to change this, not necessarily successful attempts yet, but we're trying to change some things at Black River Audubon. And one way we're doing it is through projects with National Audubon's Burke Plants for Birds grants. We had a successful grant last year, and we incorporated students from the local high school, National Honor Society students, other students who belong to groups with the local Rotary Club. That the phrase used to be, these terms come and go, but the phrase used to be at-risk kids, so we included everybody in that. And we were told by National Audubon that out of 85 applicants, ours was one of the very best. And the reason being is that we did not simply ask for the grant to pay somebody else to do it. We were going to do it ourselves, but we were going to include youth and people of other ethnicities in our local county. Now, right now, we're waiting to hear about this year's grant proposal, which expands on that one. And I'm thinking it will be granted, but if it isn't, we're going to do it anyway, in some way or other. Western Reserve Land Conservancy and us and we are collaborating on a project. They own a few dozen acres just south of the town of Oberlin. Oberlin is a very progressive community. I'm not saying all of Lorraine County is, for God's sake. But Oberlin is. And it has Oberlin College within it. And this piece of land has a unique history. It used to be farmland owned by an African-American family who bought it during the Civil War, the Copeland family. They lived there for generations. And one of their sons, before they actually bought the land, however, one of their sons, John Copeland, was recruited by John Brown for the raid on Harper's Ferry. He was caught and he was hung afterwards. He was executed, in other words. Now, this family was historic in itself, beyond their son who was executed. So, as a result, we were able we decided we would try to do something with this land together with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. And Oberlin is a very multi-racial town, which encourages a lot of projects, and the African Americans in town have a good number of organizations that we have gone to, and they were excited to hear about this project. We're going to be applying for state historical plaques and so forth for this land. Maybe not this year yet. I mean, we got a lot to do just to plan the project. But we're going to be planting trees, plants, and so forth, just like we did last year in downtown Elyria, which turned out to be a very good project. We're going to be doing that again south of Oberlin. And we've gotten everybody involved. We went to the high school. We've gotten others involved within the town, Rotary clubs and so forth, just as we did last year.
Is this on Hamilton Road?
Hamilton Road, just west of the splash zone.
Yeah.
The Metro Park splash zone. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing this year. At the Great Lakes meeting last fall, people spoke on this issue of ethnic diversity and age diversity. I got in touch with a lady from Detroit who runs a successful program in the city of Detroit. Afterward, she said, one thing you have to do if you want to get the young involved at all is it has to be a project. It has to be something that's hands-on, not listening to speakers. At least for most, anyway. And so that's the approach we're trying to take. Now, last year's program didn't lead to very much afterward, and I think that's the problem. We have a great deal of enthusiasm for a project, and then we tend to forget about things and move on to other issues. We're going to have to resolve that problem of letting things go and becoming apathetic again afterward. But I think that's the way we should do it, through collaboration, face-to-face collaboration. We've been calling these people and talking to them rather than sending them emails. We're getting them excited about it. And we will hope to get them further excited through the project itself. So that's what we're attempting. Whether it's successful or not depends on